The Shining, by Stephen King, is a haunting and gripping tale that delves into the dark recesses of the human mind. Set in the secluded hotel named Overlook during the winter season, the story follows the Torrance family as they become caretakers of the eerie hotel. The Shining is set in Colorado in the 1970s. It centers on the Torrance family, husband Jack, wife Wendy, and their 5-year-old son, Danny. At the beginning of the novel, Jack is hired as the caretaker of the remote Overlook Hotel for the winter off-season. He is informed by the hotel manager that the previous caretaker, Delbert Grady, killed his entire family inside the hotel. Specifically, Delbert Grady murdered the little girls with a hatchet, his wife with a shotgun, and himself the same way. As Jack later learns, the hotel has a long and ghastly history. Over the years, it has housed illicit affairs, horrible murders, and mob-style executions. Perhaps by consequence, its ownership has changed hands several times. Jack is nonetheless determined to be the caretaker. In the past, Jack, an aspirant writer and former prep school teacher, struggled with alcoholism and anger issues. Once, he accidentally broke his son's arm while trying to discipline him. More recently, Jack assaulted a teenage student who let the air out of his tires. The incident cost Jack his teaching job and compelled his wife, Wendy, to strongly consider a divorce. Now Jack is a recovering alcoholic. His ties to his family are weak, and his long stalled work in progress remains largely unfinished. Jack hopes that the seclusion of the hotel will help him finish the play and reconnect with his wife and son. On the day of their arrival, the Torrances are given a tour of the Overlook by the hotel manager. They are introduced to Dick Halloran, the hotel cook, who takes a special interest in Danny. Unlike his parents, Danny is remarkably perceptive and supernaturally gifted. He has extrasensory abilities that allow him to read minds, communicate telepathically, and see past and possible future events. As he tells Halloran, he is sometimes visited by a shadowy, ethereal figure whom he calls Tony. Halloran explains that he has powers similar to Danny's. He calls them the Shining. Halloran not only helps Danny understand his powers but also tells him, if there is trouble, you give a call. Halloran then leaves for St. Petersburg, Florida, where he spends his winters. Shortly thereafter, the remaining staff and guests depart, leaving the Torrance family alone in the Overlook Hotel. As the harsh winter sets in, the Overlook Hotel becomes cut off from the outside world, intensifying its chilling aura. Slowly, the hotel's dark history begins to manifest, and its sinister influence seeps into the minds of the Torrance family. Jack, already teetering on the edge of sanity, finds himself succumbing to the malevolent forces at play within the hotel. Meanwhile, Danny, with his Shining, begins to experience horrifying visions and encounters the spirits that inhabit the hotel. One of the most notable spirits which was discussed earlier is that of Delbert Grady, the previous caretaker who succumbed to his madness and brutally murdered his wife and 2 daughters. The hotel's malevolence attempts to use Jack as a vessel to repeat this pattern of violence. As the story progresses, Wendy becomes increasingly aware of the hotel's malevolence and fears for her and Danny's safety. She desperately tries to protect her son from the sinister forces and urges Jack to leave the hotel. However, Jack's descent into madness grows more rapid, and he becomes increasingly violent and unpredictable. Jack wanders into the hotel ballroom. To his surprise, he finds the bar stocked with liquor tended by a bartender named Lloyd. While Lloyd pours Jack wine after wine, a ghostly party, a 1945 masquerade ball, rages on in the ballroom. After several drinks, Jack is confronted by the ghost of Delbert Grady, the caretaker who murdered his family. Grady urges Jack to correct his wife and son. In his drunken, enraged state, Jack agrees. That afternoon he attempts to strangle Wendy in the barroom. Wendy's fingertips graze a glass bottle, which she uses to hit Jack over the head and escape his grip. Together, she and Danny drag Jack's unconscious body to a walk-in pantry and lock him inside. A few hours later, Grady confronts Jack in the pantry. After making him promise to kill Wendy and bring his son to us, presumably the evil spirits of the Overlook, Grady unlocks the pantry, releasing Jack. Again, Jack attacks Wendy, this time with one of the hotel's rogue mallets, savagely injuring her. Although she stabs him in the lower back with a kitchen knife, Jack's attacks do not cease. Unable to walk, Wendy drags herself up the grand stairs and locks herself in her bathroom. Jack follows closely behind and, upon finding the bathroom door locked, attempts to break the door down with the mallet. When he thrusts his hand through the resulting hole in the door, Wendy slashes it with a razor blade. Meanwhile, Danny, in an attempt to protect himself and his mother, reaches out to Dick Halloran. Halloran teaches Danny how to use his gift and offers guidance from afar. As the final confrontation approaches, Jack is completely consumed by the hotel's dark influence and turns against his family. The Overlook Hotel becomes a nightmarish battleground, where the lines between reality and the supernatural blur. In a climactic showdown, Wendy and Danny fight for their lives, using their wits and Danny's shining ability to outsmart Jack and the malevolent spirits. They must confront their deepest fears and the evil that resides within the walls of the Overlook Hotel. The Shining explores themes of isolation, addiction, the disintegration of the family unit, and the frailty of the human mind. Stephen King masterfully weaves a tale of terror and psychological suspense, drawing readers into a web of chilling events and unsettling revelations. With its atmospheric setting, complex characters, and a relentless sense of dread, The Shining stands as a cornerstone of horror literature. Stephen King's evocative storytelling and profound exploration of the human psyche make this novel a haunting and unforgettable experience. The Shining is a gripping journey into the darkness that resides both within the human soul and the physical spaces we inhabit, reminding us that some horrors are not confined to our nightmares, but rather lurk within the very fabric of our reality.